you know what? I'll just say this. The grocery store gonna get mad at me if I complain about the carts not being returned.
Wait, what?
Like if I come on the podcast and complain about something or talk about something,
Yeah.
am I supposed to talk about no people, places, or things while I'm here?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a really good day so far. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. I come to you from Baltimore City, Maryland, and here on my YouTube channel, I feature content that is generally focused on knitting and spinning. In this week's episode of what I call the Thread to Mend podcast, I'm going to sit down and share with you a little bit from Rhinebeck, New York, where they host the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. I have been attending this festival for many years now, and every year it is the same and different. And mostly what's different is just how I engage in it. So this year I was very worried about how well Brian would handle all of the walking. He fared even better than I did. He is so resilient, and we had a really great time. I however seemed to suffer the most because I don't think my back does very well in long car rides anymore. I think the general events of the world kind of had me sort of hunched over and very much folding into my little cocoon of a self, and so with that I just felt a lot of discomfort throughout the day, mostly because I was carrying a few books around, and I'm going to show that off to you, but I was just so uncomfortable physically all day. I think that might have been one of the main reasons why I forgot to take like any video footage at all of like the entire thing. So I'm going to link below to a couple YouTubers here on this platform that have channels that are very lovely, and they gave really great Rhinebeck recaps if you're interested in that sort of content. Unfortunately, I forgot to provide that this year. I was just in the moment the entire time, meeting people left and right, which was the absolute highlight of my day. And I regret not getting more photos with people that I met, or if I took photos with them, I didn't also get photos on my phone. So I wish I had more content just to remember the experience. When we got there, we immediately went to the wool barn. I did not bring home a fleece this year. I did help Escarla pick out a very gorgeous, rich black Shetland fleece. And so hopefully she will be providing some content on her YouTube channel about that one day soon, and you can check it out over there. But I decided I have more than enough raw fleece to process. So I took a beat on that this year, and I only grabbed a couple things from the festival, and then a third that I purchased online. So I'm gonna review those briefly. The very first thing that I got is Gudrun Johnston and Mary Jane Mucklestone's brand new book, Grand Shetland Adventure Knits. It's an expensive book, guys. It's not a cheap book, but I did get both of their autographs, and there was a pattern in here. I saw the minute it released, I knew I wanted to knit it, and I decided at that time I wasn't going to purchase it. But when I saw the opportunity to meet both of them and to pick up my own copy, I decided now was the time. And I'm currently working on, I'm not exactly sure how one would pronounce this pattern title, if it's Ridgie's Cardi. Anyway, I am currently knitting this. I've already cast it on. It uses a DK weight yarn, and I happen to have 10 skeins of Green Mountain Spinnery's organic DK. I think this is the Vermont base. They have, it's named after whichever state the wool was grown. Mine is a light heather gray, and I am very much enjoying this. It's knit from top to bottom, side to side. So I've just picked up and cast on along the front left, and you do short rows for the shoulder shaping as you work out towards the cuff, I guess. It's also knit in pieces, and it's knit flat, so unfortunately I will have to do some sort of seaming But in the meantime, it is all simple, what do we call this? Garter? Why was that so hard? But I'm just knitting every row. And it is one of the most simple, straightforward patterns so far in execution. So I'm really happy to have found a very lovely pattern to transform such a huge quantity of skeins in my stash. I have 10 skeins. I'm really excited. I know that I have more than enough yardage to execute my size, so really excited to pull that out of stash and work it into a garment. I kind of just purchased this book for the culture. My second souvenir from the festival is quite a big one. I had been thinking about investing in another pelt for some amount of time. I knew I wanted a Gotland pelt, and so we picked out this one. It is nice and big, very cool tone gray, and it's just so soft. The kitties love it, and it's been living on our bed, the foot of the bed. So yeah, that was my big purchase this year. The last thing I picked up from the festival, I actually purchased on their website, and I wasn't planning to bring home a sweater quantity, but the more I thought about it, the more I wanted a black version of Nora Gong's Nightingale, which I've already knit in my hand spun. I don't like to wear that sweater for a couple reasons. One, there's some inconsistency in the yarn weight, and so I ended up holding parts of my hand spun double, and it just kind of gave for a weird shape around the neck. I don't think it's the pattern that's at fault for that. I think it is the yarn I used to knit that garment, but also I didn't wash the fleece thoroughly enough before combing and spinning it. It has some lanolin in it, and it just bothers my nose. It has such a rich lanolin smell to it, that garment, still, no matter how many times I wash it. I don't enjoy wearing it. So I do want a Nightingale in my wardrobe. And when we were visiting, I always look at my favorite mills, even though I'm familiar with all of their yarn. I've shopped their yarn multiple times, and I've visited both the Green Mountain Spinnery fiber mill and the Harrisville Designs, storefront. I didn't actually see the mill, but I've been to the location where their mill is housed. And when I was in the Harrisville Designs booth shop thing, I saw that they had a framed photo of Laura Palmer, and that was just so funny to me. I had to stop and ask, what is the deal with a framed photo of Laura Palmer? And they thought it just went along with the spooky vibes of their Nightshades yarn. And I thought that was reason enough and rather cool. And I asked if they had any of their Highland in stock in the color black, and they didn't at the time, but they did encourage me to purchase it online rather soon, because some of their colors they've been having a hard time getting back in stock. So while it is in stock, now is the time to purchase it. And so I immediately did. One great thing about shopping the Harrisville Designs website is in the state of New Hampshire, they don't have sales tax. So you're basically getting, at least where I live, a full 6% discount on your order. And then shipping was free. I don't know what their minimum was, but that made it more affordable. And every single skein of my 6 skein sweater quantity only cost $14, which is a steal of a deal, especially for an American milled yarn. Their worsted weight Highland yarn is woolen spun, and it is 200 yards per 100 grams, I'm assuming. Yes, 3.5 ounces, and it is black as midnight on a moonless night.
Can we offer you gentlemen a cup of joe?
Mrs. Packard, you said the magic word.
I'd love a cup, thanks.
Sure, I'll pour that for you. Mr. Cooper, how do you take it?
Black as midnight on a moonless night.
Pretty black.
And I just love that for me. I'm going to, like I said, I'm planning to knit this into a Nightingale, but I'm also thinking I might knit Brian another sweater. He has one Green Mountain Spinnery drop shoulder sweater that I knit him years ago. He wears every single year that we go to Rhinebeck. And I have enough yardage to knit him a garment, I think. I think 6 skeins in a worsted weight should be plenty. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to knit this into, but I think that it will be rewarding regardless. And it came with a nice, deep little sort of flower sack bag, which I really, really love. I already have one of their tote bags, so I was really happy to get this because it's unique and I don't already own this, and I think it'll be really great for either housing fiber or yarn. But that is that. I have made some progress on a few of my projects. I mentioned casting on this, which will be epic. It is quite a large amount of yarn to knit up. I haven't made a ton of progress. It looks like I stopped mid-row here. So I can't quite show this off to you, but I'm still knitting on my raglan, which is, I think ultimately going to be drafted into a very simple top-down raglan design. I haven't decided exactly how I want to shape the arms. I think I don't want it to be like a swan show feeling garment, but I think I would like it to kind of resemble a bit more of like a dolman sleeve type of look. So not unlike this, but I don't know. I haven't quite sorted that out. I'm just on the process of expanding the yoke. So not a lot of thought has gone into that. And then the one project that I did bring on vacation over the last weekend was this, which I also stopped mid-row. I guess I have a habit of doing that, but it is my progress on whatever this pattern is called, I forget. I have yet to cast on for my second version of the Yell, and that is mostly because I have all of my yarn ready to go except for the one color I needed to have caked up to cast on. I didn't, and my yarn room is quite a mess right now, and I didn't have the time or space to pull my yarn winder back out and get that situated. So this is on the back burner for now. I think my highest priority is to continue knitting my raglan cardigan because it's going to be a cropped design, which will require far fewer stitches than the garter by Gudrun Johnston. And then in the background will just be this very simple and easy, straightforward, once established, of course, not quite at the beginning, but simple to remember, small project with a lighter weight yarn. I can carry one ball around and have all I need for many days of knitting. So this will be my travel project if I ever leave the house, and I don't really anticipate that anytime soon, so I'm in good shape there. I have quite a lot to focus on before I think I cast on for the Yell. But like I mentioned, I'm going to knit my Yell a little different than my first one. I'm going to make my arms holes a little deeper and then do more shaping of the arm, which I excluded entirely in my first iteration. So I'm excited to have a use for all of this yarn from my stash, but I'm also kind of like on the fence about casting this on because there is always the potential that I find a different pattern for this full sweater quantity of yarn I have right here. There's so many lovely, lovely projects in Gudrun Johnston's other publication, the Shetland Trader Book 3, my favorite knitting book of all time. I have already knit the Vare pullover, which you see on the cover here. So I think that I will be knitting a Maywick in my future. I'll probably be knitting this lace 3/4 length sleeve sweater with something softer than Shetland wool, something a little less insulating. I have a lot of Stephen West's bicycle yarn left over in my stash from my bubble cardigan. I could turn into one of those. Another project in my queue I could always knit from stash is this gorgeous shawl design. And then there's also this lovely beret pattern that I could also knit with so many of my scraps. I don't know, I'm kind of just mulling it over a little longer with that sweater quantity, but that is it. That is all for this week's episode of the Thread to Mend podcast. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you want to find me on social media, my name is Taylor E. Owen on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find me over on TikTok as Taylor Knits. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you take care.
Of the pole stars are rescue dogs. We happen to think rescue dogs are the coolest dogs around. And we do not do this for a living. We both work regular full-time jobs that unfortunately do not entail us playing Frisbee with our dogs every day. But we do this because it's really, really fun for our dogs.
Ha ha ha.